You know what I think would make a really good double bill? That 2006 film, Deja Vu, and Tenet. So it has two Washingtons, time bending, to save the day. Am I the only one who remembers that film? So Christopher Nolan, one of the most daring filmmakers of our time, delivers more and beyond in his latest written and directed time-bending science fiction espionage action film. So the film is about this secret agent who embarks on a time-bending journey in order to prevent the start of World War III. And that's just basically the synopsis that I read from the IMDb. I just want to avoid spoilers here. So I was really anticipated to see this film because Christopher Nolan is one of my favorite directors. So Inception was considered to be very sort of confusing. And I sort of understood this film. I mean, like, I think it requires like a second watch, I think, in order to understand it more clearly. So I expected, of course, that Tenet would be a very confusing film all around. And yes, it is confusing. There is a lot of confusion around this film as to who these characters are and the way that they're set up. It's very mysterious. This film tends to be very emotionally distant. Like, you don't know who these characters are, and it's essentially a plot-heavy film. It relies heavily on the plot rather than characters. But there's great performances all around. Like, you've got like John David Washington, who is a suave, cool, engaging, and entertaining as the protagonist. And yes, that's his name. His name is the protagonist. And a man on the most important mission of his life. He's encountered this entity, this weird thing where time is being inverted. Robert Pattinson is also great in the film. He's equally suave and witty, and you know, it pretty much shows that he can play a really good Bruce Wayne as well as Batman in the coming 2021 film, The Batman, which I'm really looking forward to see. Kenneth Branagh, he was really good as well, although character sort of reminded me of that film Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit. You know that film that he made? It reminded me of the other Russian villain that he played. Although he was really good and he was chewing a lot of scenery there, and he was very menacing in the film as well. And Elizabeth Debicki is sort of the heart and soul of the film. It's not like I didn't really care about the characters, I really did. It's just that like these characters are mysteriously set up in a very emotionally distant way. John David Washington is the protagonist, and you're sort of trying to figure out like, why is he there? Why is he the protagonist? And the film, it leaves more questions than it does more answers. There's a lot of information in this film as well. I remember that there was a part in the trailer where Robert Pattinson said, "I've seen too much," and then John David Washington replies with, "Well, try and keep up." I think that's what Christopher Nolan is saying to us, really, about like how don't try and understand the film, feel it, I guess. The production values are very refreshing, as you have a ginormous spectacles of action and stunts which are not reliable on special effects or green screen. You saw it in the trailer that there was a massive jumbo jet being crashed into a building. That was, of course, real. That was practical. But you also have people like fighting backwards and other people moving forwards, or you saw like a building exploding and then forming. It's fantastic to see on the big screen. It's fantastic to see, periods. There's amazing, fantastic action set pieces here that you can really enjoy. Then again, it does question how you care about the action on screen, whether you care about what's happening in the plot, whether you care about these characters, whether you care about what's at stake here, because the film's emotional distance questions your care for these characters, your care for what's at stake, and like this end of the world plot. And I really enjoyed like piecing the puzzles together, because there's a lot of confusion in the first act, but then later on, after some reveals, it assists the plot, you know, essentially. It doesn't assist the characters. It doesn't do well for the emotion of the film. I remember that in Dunkirk, when you have like non-linear narrative storytelling and you don't focus on the characters, you focus on the moment, you focus on what is going on in the film, like what's going on. It's very fast-paced. And that's what this film really is. It's very fast-paced. There wasn't a single dull moment in it, and I really enjoyed everything that was on screen. There wasn't a single dull moment. And also what matches the scenes is the score. I really enjoyed the score made by Ludwig Göransson. The score fits the film like a glove. Like, people were probably watching this film and thinking, oh, is that Hans Zimmer that was making because there's always a collaboration between Hans Zimmer and Christopher Nolan, when Hans Zimmer always makes his scores for Christopher Nolan films. But Hans Zimmer was busy making Dune, so Ludwig Göransson, who made the score for Black Panther, and also won an Oscar for that. He's essentially really good. He did a fantastic job in this film, and I really loved the score. I really enjoyed the sections and the music that were like reversed. They sounded reversed, and also the song that was in the trailer, which was also in the film, was really good. Can't wait to get the soundtrack. Speaking of sound, like there may be some issues with the mixing. You have the dialogue in the second of the mix, and then you have the effects and everything in the first of the mix. It kind of is really hard for hearing dialogue, especially when if you're going to an IMAX theater or whatever. Overall, this film is not considered to be Nolan's best, but at the same time, it's probably one of the most unique cinema experiences I've ever been to. But this film is very unconventional, and I find it very fascinating how mysterious the characters are set up. The plot and the heavy amount of research that Christopher Nolan has gotten into when making the screenplay, because he wrote this by himself. When he was writing The Dark Knight, he had to get other writers to come in and help him write the screenplay. But this one, he wrote by himself. And so I couldn't imagine how much research that he had to do in order to get this film made, in order to get things accurate. Because like you'd always have like a niche of these sorts of films where you have the concept of time bending and time inversion. You'd have those sorts of people like analyzing whether he got things accurately about the theories of time inversion and times going forward or backwards. And I think that he did a really great job on it. And I think that like this film is overall really critically acclaimed. Like across, you see loads of YouTube videos of people theorizing the film, explaining, going through the trailers, going through the characters, and going through what things that we've missed. A lot of people haven't gone to the cinema in a really long time, and they probably go and see this film in the cinema. They're either gonna love this film, or they're gonna say, oh, I'm gonna go on board with whatever Nolan's gonna be taking us through, whatever sort of journey. Or they're probably not gonna like this film and think, oh my god, these people are just expository puppets, and I don't really feel for them at all, and I don't really buy what's going on the screen. I don't really care for these visuals, or maybe I like the visuals, but I don't like the plot, I don't like the characters. And then you have people who just like to study the film scene by scene by scene in order to piece the puzzles together. I watched it once, and I watched it with my friend. He was sort of all over the place with it. He didn't know what to think of it. I really loved it. I really loved when twists and turns were being pulled, and I thought like, wow, this is incredible filmmaking. I can't deny the daring, unique and jaw-dropping and game-changing visuals on display here. Like, it's just phenomenal to see. I hope that like studios will look into that. You don't have to make a film that is a prequel, a reboot, an adaptation, when you've got like an originally written film like Tenet to explore different sorts of stories, different sorts of storytelling, and you have this film that is probably saving theaters all over the globe. I had a really great time with this film. It might require like a second watch or a third watch for me to understand it more clearly. I really can't wait to get this film on Blu-ray, or probably get the soundtrack as well. It's a really great soundtrack. It's not like this film doesn't have emotion. It does. It's just that it's sort of emotionally distant, and I feel like that's what Christopher Nolan was trying to do. The film's not perfect, but it is unique, which is why I'm gonna give the film a 7.5 out of 10. You know, this film could probably have a higher grading or a lower grading depending on my rewatch of this film. So guys, what did you think of Tenet? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know what you thought of Tenet down below, and share with me your thoughts. And also, question of the day, what's your favorite film that involves time bending in the concept, such as Tenet? And as always, thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to see more and be updated for more. And until next time guys, I have not said this in a really long time, and I apologize for that. Have a great one.